Hey everyone, imagine a man who should have died. Instead, he became something else, something monstrous. Let me tell you this wild saga. There was this sheltered biochemistry professor at Empire State University named Theodore Sallis. He loved books much more than people. Therefore, he had no idea of what destiny had in store for him. But then the United States Army recruited him into Project Sulfur. They aimed to develop a means to survive biochemical warfare. Sallis, in a burst of inspired yet dangerous ingenuity, created serum SO2, which granted immunity to all known toxic chemicals, but it carried mutagenic side effects that would have transformed ordinary people into monsters. Now, his free-spirited friend, St. Cloud, convinced him to denounce the project. She was so determined that she shut it down before any serum was produced. Therefore, even though Ted, as he was known, proposed to her, she refused him because, well, they were simply too different. So he returned to teaching, but then unexpectedly fell in love with one of his students, Ellen Brandt, a naive, impassioned 19-year-old. They eloped following a secret affair. However, after their honeymoon, they visited Madame Swabada, a fortune teller who ominously foretold catastrophic change. Shortly thereafter, Sallis was reassigned to Project Gladiator, a SHIELD research program headquartered in the Florida Everglades. They aimed to recreate the lost super soldier serum that had once created Captain America. But Sallis, working separately from colleagues like Dr. Wilma Calvin and Dr. Barbara Morse, later known as Mockingbird, modified his SO2 formula as the basis for a new serum. Therefore, his work attracted the attention of the subversive organization AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics, who desperately wanted the serum. They even conspired with a bitter Ellen, whom Ted had neglected since their honeymoon. So when he finally completed the new serum, Ted made a drastic decision. He committed its formula to memory and burned his records. But things took a turn for the worse when Ellen led him into an AIM ambush. Therefore, he fled and injected himself with the sole remaining sample just before his car crashed into the swamp. One would have expected him to die. However, the mystical energies of the swamp, harboring what was known as the Nexus of Reality, combined with the serum to transform him into a hideous creature, later dubbed the Man-Thing. The transformation was brutal. His intellect rapidly faded, but he was forced to slay the AIM agents while horribly burning half of Ellen's face. The Man-Thing, though crudely mimicking a human form, was really composed of pockets of algae, moss, and fibrous weeds held together by a network of animated, tough, starchy roots, following the basic pattern of human bone and muscle. Therefore, his face was a jumble of these hanging roots. But embedded bacterial colonies not only processed nutrients for him, they produced a pungent, rotting stench. The creature could lift 1,000 pounds. It was incredibly durable. Bullets or punches, instead of causing damage, either passed through or lodged harmlessly in the porous muck of his body. Even as he lost physical mass, his body would rebuild itself by drawing new material from the surrounding swamp. Therefore, he could ooze through or around openings such as wire mesh or steel bars. Here's where it gets even weirder. The Man-Thing was extremely sensitive to emotion, so mild feelings would merely pique his curiosity and make him observe events from a distance. But violent emotions like fear, anger, or hatred brought him extreme discomfort, provoking him to attack. Particularly, fear made him secrete a chemical akin to fuming sulfuric acid. Therefore, anything that knew fear would burn upon contact with him. Owing to this unique mystical chemical physiology, he was tied to the swamp, especially the Florida Everglades near Citrusville, so that even though he was ageless and immune to disease, prolonged separation could render him dormant or even kill him. AIM wasn't done trying yet. They attempted once again to obtain Sallis's formula, but the efforts were thwarted by the combined interventions of the Man-Thing and Khazar. Therefore, the Man-Thing made the swamps his home and assumed the role of guardian of the Nexus of Reality. The swamp's magic turned it into a focal point for bizarre occurrences. Super beings like Wundar and the Molecule Man were drawn there. Later, the Man-Thing first encountered the young witch Jennifer Kale and her brother Andrew. They unintentionally summoned Thog the Nether Spawn using the mysterious Tome of Jared Na. Therefore, though initially unaware of the consequences, the Kales left for their town in Citrusville, being trailed by both Thog and the Man-Thing. In a confrontation with Thog, the Man-Thing initially managed to destroy the host that Thog had possessed before Thog was fully summoned. But when the battle returned to the swamp, Thog was thrown back into his own home dimension of Sominus. Not long after, Thog reappeared to seek revenge. He lured the Man-Thing to his dimension and even offered him a chance to become human again if he killed the Kale family. But Ted refused categorically. Therefore, Salus was snapped back into his monstrous form, and Thog was seemingly destroyed. Yet the Kales soon realized that they were still trapped in the swamp. Everything was an illusion that only dissolved when the Man-Thing discovered his touch wasn't burning someone who felt fear. Then, strange outbreaks of violence broke out, triggered by the takeover of human minds and souls by demons from the underworld. Therefore, the Kales decided to assemble a cult and prepare a ritual meant to block the demons' entry to Earth. But, in a surreal twist, Jennifer Kale and the Man-Thing vanished and reappeared in chains in an otherworldly dimension. There, they met Dakim the Enchanter, who needed to recover the Tome of Jared Na, the very book that had once summoned Thog. He explained that, as the guardian of the Nexus of All Realities, the Man-Thing could prevent doorways between worlds from opening, but only if he survived a trial by combat. In that trial, the Man-Thing was forced to fight a barbarian called Mongu. Mongu's battle axe proved ineffective against him. Therefore, the swamp monster attacked with its burning touch and won the encounter. Then Dakim returned Jennifer and the Man-Thing to the swamp. For reasons unknown, the Man-Thing later ran amok in a nearby city before seemingly dropping dead. Soon enough, he was taken to the Kale home, where Joshua Kale revealed the origins of the Tome of Jared Na, tracing it back to ancient Atlantis. Then, in an extra-dimensional nexus, Dakim whisked Jennifer and the Man-Thing away to recover the tome, battling demonic forces from Sominus the whole time. When the cult members were captured, Jennifer and the Man-Thing joined forces to secure the book and restore reality, thereby freeing the captives. But everyone was then transported back to Earth, including the demon the Man-Thing had been fighting. Once back in his swamp, the creature easily overpowered the demon. Therefore, with everything seemingly returned to normal, the tome vanished and the Man-Thing resumed his lonely watch over the swamp, though his bond with Jennifer appeared to be severed. Later on, in a one-time Legion of Monsters alliance with Ghost Rider, Morbius, and the Werewolf, the Man-Thing helped destroy an enigmatic entity known as the Starseed. At one point, Salus's mind was nearly restored by Dr. Karl Oheimer's cerebral regeneration therapy for a CIA project. However, the Army, suspecting enemy interference, attempted a rescue that cost Oheimer his life. Therefore, a sentient Man-Thing slaughtered everyone involved before returning to his swamp, where his mind faded once again. In another experimental twist, he was briefly transported to the Himalayas, encountering a race of Yetis descended from Cro-Magnons. But then the sorcerer Baron Mordo returned him to the swamp, restored Salus's mind, and used him as a pawn against Doctor Strange in a plot to destroy Earth. Yet, Jennifer Kale helped the Man-Thing break free of Mordo's control and foil the plan, even though Salus's mind faded once more soon after. Yet the creature continued its subconscious mission to defend both the swamp and the Nexus. In doing so, it incinerated botanist Owen Candler, the creator of the Salvation Seed and the Union, whose designs threatened to replace humanity with plant simuloids. But when SHIELD agents London and Easterbrook attempted to force it to register under the Superhuman Registration Act, the Man-Thing incinerated Easterbrook before being incapacitated by London's herbicide weapon. Shockingly, London took the Man-Thing's head as proof of its destruction and received a promotion for his actions. However, the swamp soon restored the Man-Thing completely, even gifting it a new head. In Marvel Snap, Man-Thing is represented as a 4-cost, 7-power card with an ongoing ability. 1, 2, and 3-cost cards at this location have -2 power. While this does not directly replicate his signature fear-based combustion, it effectively translates his ominous and oppressive presence into gameplay mechanics. His ability to weaken lower-cost cards represents how smaller, weaker beings, or those more susceptible to fear, are drained or crippled merely by being in his presence. This fits well with his comic book lore, where he is an eerie force of nature, sapping the will and energy of those around him, particularly those who fear him. Man-Thing's card ability makes certain locations hostile to decks that rely on low-cost cards, forcing opponents to rethink their strategy. This can be seen as a way to mirror his comic role as a guardian of the Nexus of All Realities, where his mere existence alters the environment and deters intruders. Man-Thing's Marvel Snap card does a solid job of representing his signature comics ability and even indirectly reminds that he is the Nexus of All Realities. Thank you for taking this epic journey with me. Who do you want me to cover next? Let me know in the comments. Until next time,